Hello folks, and welcome to another sugar-free episode of the Audiophile Man. And what do I have for you this time around? Well, I have a pair of speakers, a pair of floor standing speakers. These come from Q Acoustics. They are in the 5000 series of speakers, specifically the 5050s, priced at £1,299, packaged in a rather familiar floor standing cabinet spanning 1017 by 366 by 366 millimeters, but weighing in at a, I would say, rather hefty 21.6 kilograms per speaker. These 6-ohm speakers sport two 150mm mid-bass drivers featuring the C3 continuous curved cone technology. The company promises large voice coils to increase motor strength. In between, to form a classic Dapolito pattern, is a hermetically sealed and mechanically isolated 25mm tweeter, as found in the new concept series. Inside is a point-to-point bracing system to increase cabinet rigidity and Helmholtz pressure equalizers to reduce vibration. The cabinet itself is notably Q Acoustics in this presentation, a sleek minimalist design that kind of looks rather, I don't know what, Nordic, Scandinavian at least. In fact, if you told me that these speakers had been made in a secret factory submerged underneath the fjords, I wouldn't have been surprised. Arriving with a 91.8 decibel sensitivity, if you combine the 6-ohm figure, you're looking at amplifiers to drive this thing, around 25 watts and upwards, I would say. And that's the rather short and sweet tech background for the 5050s. Question is, how do they sound then? And here we are already at the sound quality tests for the Q Acoustics 5050 floor standing speakers, and I don't know how long it's been since I listened to a Peter Gabriel album, so I thought I'd correct that and use the man's PG4, issued by Charisma in 1982. This was the test vehicle to get the sound quality tests on the road. I listened to 2 tracks here. The first was Rhythm of the Heat, a broad soundtrack size piece with lots of power, plus the more poppy yet still punchy I Have the Touch from later on the same side. Side A, I think it is. Now, at this time in his career, Peter Gabriel was astonishing everyone, including me, with the sheer power of the tribal skewed percussion that he was integrating into his work, in addition to the purity of his production methods. So I was looking for a reference. I had this musical theme in my head, and so I reached for a pair of older and rather lighter Q Acoustics 3050 floor standing speakers. They originally retailed for around £500. Another reason for grabbing the 3050s was this: they look very much like the 5050s. Now you'll notice that I've removed the feet for both. Better to see the curvy cabinet comparisons. So we have the same basic cabinet dimensions, even down to the same rounded curves at the edges. The driver arrangement is the same with that Dapolito arrangement, although the tweeter on the 5050 is rather more pronounced. Because of that, some people might see the 3050s for sale, possibly second-hand, and wonder, why should they bother with the 5050s? The 3050s look basically the same, so why spend more? So I did the test, and because of that floor-standing, relatively spacious cabinet, I thought bass and dynamics and soundstage would be useful subjects to focus upon here, hence the Peter Gabriel track. Now, on a quick tangent, my first impression of the 5050s clarified some preconceptions. Before I got into this review, I was seeing comments on the internet. Always a bad thing to do, I think, reading comments on the internet. And if you think these speakers are combative in upper frequency terms, then the rest of your hi-fi needs some attention. You need to look at low noise accessories, grounding accessories, quality isolation gear, top-end cabling, better stands, and shelving, and all of that. Now, yes, Q Acoustics has added a measure of emphasis to the treble and the upper mids, but they stopped before that became egregious. Yes, I would have preferred if they had dialed the upper frequencies back a bit. The 3050s are far better balanced in these terms. Both treble and upper mid frequencies from the 5050s are pushed right to the edge, which, to my mind, is quite unnecessary, especially for the regular and very successful Q Acoustics philosophy. I'd like to follow the old "if it ain't broke, don't fix it" pathway. Q Acoustics sound like they're trying to fix a design philosophy that needs leaving well alone. Even so, what the upper frequencies actually give you is lots of insight, adding detail and emotion to vocal deliveries. The 5050s had a rich and layered presentation to secondary percussion and a wide, expansive soundstage. Bass is big, bass is bold on the 5050s. It is strong, it is expansive, and it's rather impressive. The final part of this Peter Gabriel track sounded like the mother of all storms, but the 5050s, well, they coped easily with the lower frequency onslaught, controlling each and every percussive strike, and there were plenty, with comparative ease. Now, I also wanted to bring in the Prodigy speakers from PMC1, the PRODIGY1s, which are offered at basically the same price, but obviously smaller. These are stand mounts. Presented in a stand mounted cabinet, they, for their size, give you quality bass and an insightful upper frequency performance. So, does the larger cabinet of the 5050s offer any real benefits when you consider the similar price? The sonic comparison between the two shows you that even at this price point, compromises are paramount in terms of speaker design. The PMC speakers offer a smooth and balanced suite of upper frequencies, detailed and insightful, and very easy on the ear, and ultimately superior to the 5050s in that one department. The 5050s, though, give you a big scale in terms of soundstage, far more impressive, with a bigger, again, more impressive bass response, and that knocks you flat on your back when compared to the PMCs. Now, the bass response on the PMCs is very impressive for the size of the cabinet, but the design of the PMCs, where the money has been spent, is on those upper frequencies within the mid-range and the treble. What the 5050s are doing here is spreading that same build budget, and it is finite, let's not forget. The 5050s spread that budget evenly over all of the frequencies, so you get a bit of everything here. The 5050s do enough on the upper frequencies to impress, but they excel on the lower frequencies. Next, I tried a bit of jazz vocal and the wonderful Margaret Whiting on the Contour label and her Greatest Hits LP. I played the track It Might As Well Be Spring, which sounded generally excellent. Strings offered an impressive texture. The brass had a distinct, breathy reverberation, while the vocal provided a clear and open delivery, although now and again, the treble and upper mids just edged towards the line and put me on guard a little bit. Even so, the performance remained delightful, nimble, full of energy, and packed with information. And that, folks, is basically the review of the Q Acoustics 5050 floor standing speakers. Let me give you a few final thoughts, and then I'll give you some pros and cons and a final rating. Ultimately, what the Q Acoustics 5050 speakers are trying their best to do here is to give you the very best speaker performance for that price point. They are triers, I'll give them that. They give their all across both the upper and the lower frequencies. Yes, you could say they try a bit too hard in both treble and upper mid terms, but many listeners won't notice the issues I have heard and will actually love the 5050s for that very sound envelope. This is a personal opinion. Let's not forget that. Your opinion might be different. And that is why I urge you to demo the 5050s either at a dealer or via a home demo. Ask your favorite retailer about home demos. That's the better option of the two. Since the pandemic, That has become an increasingly common practice. The Q Acoustics 50/50 floor standards provide a powerful, all-or-nothing and full-on presentation. They impress and they force you to take notice. Whatever you think of the final sound, you cannot ignore the 50/50s. Pros and cons. And in the good section, well, I loved the big bass response. If you're listening to rock or electronica or anything with a big bass sound, even jazz, it adds that nice balance with upright bass. Big bass is very impressive. Allied to that is a spacious soundstage. There's plenty of room for frequencies to maneuver here. The mid-range, very insightful indeed. And finally, again, this is a personal opinion. You may think otherwise, but I quite like the minimalist aesthetics of the cabinet design. And in the bad section, well, there's that treble and upper mid-range emphasis. I'm not a massive fan of that. And because of that, I'm going to be giving these speakers a rating of 7. Now, one or two people have said, what does that mean? What does a 7 mean? Is it bad? Is it good? Well, if you know your hi-fi magazines, let's say you read a hi-fi magazine and it gives 1 to 5 stars. A 7 from me is like 4 out of 5 stars. So 7, 4 out of 5 stars. Hopefully that helps a little bit. And that's a lot, folks. Thank you very much for staying to the end of this video. If you can do me a favor, just down below, if you can click on the like and subscribe buttons, it will help this channel an awful lot. You'd be surprised. Further down still, I'll put a link to the speaker company itself and the speakers themselves if you want to check out more information about the design. And further on down, again, in the description, there are links, well, my own links to my website, and there's all kinds of info over there you will not see here. Also, my Patreon page, which you can access the exclusive Hi-Fi News, etc. video, plus other items, buyer's guides, and weird stuff. Strange material over there, folks. Check it out anyway. Also, my Facebook group, which you're welcome to join. I'll be back on next weekend, and I'll be able to present another music alerts video with a bit of luck, and I hope to have your company until then, folks. Bye bye for now.